Hi folks, this is Alert and Alive coming to you from beautiful Texas. Got my back to our front yard today. Beautiful day after having stormy clouds and rains for a good part of the week. Today is the 12th of May, Sunday, 2024. And I want to wish all the mothers out there who listen to this podcast a happy, beautiful Mother's Day. So grateful for you, for all your sacrifice and efforts to take care of your families and the sacrifices that you make in rearing and raising your children. So thank you so much for who you are and what you do and what you stand for and represent. For just a few minutes, I wanted to talk with all of you about the horrific storms. And I kind of gave you some numbers yesterday in a podcast of the numbers of tornadoes and severe storms and other kinds of things that we've been going through lately. And I point out to you that no man is an island unto himself. And what I mean by that is when something horrific, some kind of cataclysmic wonder of nature affects your neighborhood, whether it's wildfires that we saw ravage through Maui and Paradise, California recently, or if it's hurricane and flooding. Now, you may not be aware of it, but severe weather is impacting many different nations and areas of the world. You have extreme flooding taking place right now in Brazil, which has claimed many, many lives and hundreds of thousands of people to relocate from their homes. Afghanistan is undergoing horrific flooding. Areas of the Middle East, which are typically dry, have seen horrific floods that they've never seen or before experienced in that area of the world. China is being hit by massive storms and flooding. Even in some areas of East Africa, they're experiencing these kinds of storms and flooding. And of course, here in the United States, we also know that we've been hit with week after week of severe tornadic activity and storms of different types that have displaced individuals. And sadly, some families have lost members, who have passed away, taken in these storms. We did some podcasts in the last few weeks on go bags and things you can put into the go bag and leave, if you can even leave at all. But in some situations, like a tornado that descends on your community at 2 a.m, you may not even know what's happening until it's on your front door. Okay, so what do you do if you're one of the fortunate ones whose home is left standing, but the home to your left and right, has been destroyed? And this is where I say it's about community. It's about people, coming together to help each other out during hard times, sharing what resources the home that's left standing has with their neighbors to the left and right to help each other get through what could arguably be said the most difficult times of their lives. Friday night, we had a severe thunderstorm pass through our area, and I believe it was a tornado up in the clouds that hadn't touched ground here, but was on its way to a little city north of where we live called San Marcos, which just got pummeled with tornado, with baseball, if you can imagine this, baseball-sized hail and larger, in some cases softball-sized hail, that completely pummeled and beat down cars and destroyed the windshields. The hail was so big it was penetrating metal roofs in some places, and the hail actually, going into the rafters after it penetrated a metal roof. we have a metal roof on our house, and I always felt like we were kind of safe, with that, because we've had some lighter hail here, and it's always withstood whatever came. But with this kind of pummeling, even the stoutest, best of homes, and if trees are coming down, what do you do? Well, you survive. That's what you do. When I was stationed with the Army in Alabama, in an area in northern Alabama where they would get twisters passed through there, I know there were times we had a 2-level home that, I'd get all the family, and we go down into the basement of the lower level, throw mattresses on top of ourselves and the kids, and just ride the storm out and hope that we didn't get hit and survive. And fortunately, our house never did get hit, and we did survive, but others weren't as fortunate. So again, these things are going to continue to happen. And in my opinion, the frequency of these kinds of storms and their terrible effects seem to me to be accelerating. And I'll bet if we did some research, we would find that that's the case, that, the intensity, the acceleration, the number, the effects are increasing. But the point I want to make here is, as a community, as friends, as neighbors, as family, as members of church groups, come together, share assets and resources, help each other out. I know that, my wife and I living in an area of Texas, which is, not right down on the coast, but on higher ground, we haven't had to experience flooding like others have in some of the coastal areas. And a few years ago, after a big hurricane swept through one of the coastal areas of Texas in the south, we volunteered to go down and help a family, or a number of families that had been devastated by this hurricane, dig out. And as we were going through yard after yard, removing fallen trees and limbs that had fallen on homes and vehicles and other things, I remember coming to a home where the couple who owned the home, and this was kind of out in a rural area, and they had probably lost 30 or 40 trees in the yard. They couldn't even drive. They couldn't get their car out of the driveway. There's so many trees that had fallen, and some of them very near their house. And as we went to this home and knocked on the door and asked them if we could help them clean up their yard, the lady of the home just broke down in tears and thanked us profusely for coming to help them clear their yard during their time of need, and said we had been praying for help for the last several days since being impacted by this storm, that someone could come and help us. Because again, they were kind of out there on their own in a rural area with not a lot of neighbors around to assist. So let's come together. Let's help people when these storms hit. And if we're one of the lucky ones who have not been impacted, let's pull out the chainsaw. Let's pull out our food and water. Let's bring these people in and do everything that we can to help them. As many times, government assistance and subsidy may be slow in getting to an area, and it's we, the neighbors, that can make the biggest impact and difference. So I want to thank all of you who are doing this. I know there are many who give this kind of service repeatedly. Thank you for your service, and may we continue to do so. Is my hope and prayer. Out here for now. Thank you.
Alert.